Are you trying to lose weight but you feel psychologically miserable? This video is for you. Hi, I'm Paula Bermeo, clinical psychologist, and on this channel we talk about various topics and we analyze them from a psychological point of view. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Before starting this video, I want to remind you that I give in-person and online therapy. So if you need a consultation, please feel free to reach me out on my social media, my phone number, my email. All of them will be listed down below in the description box as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, it will help me out a lot, and don't forget to leave your opinion on this particular topic in the comments down below. There is a request in particular that I've gotten plenty of times on my DMs.
Hey, how can I lose weight without damaging my mental health? Make a video on it, please.
And considering that we've talked about tons of sensitive and heavy topics lately, I thought it was the right time to slow down a little bit, take care of my mental health while contributing to your mental health, and finally answer to this question. Now, aside from receiving messages on my socials asking me to talk about how to go through a sustainable weightless journey, I have actually worked on it with many of my patients who have come to the office with a history of overweight, obesity related issues such as diabetes, reduced mobility, thyroid issues, EDs, a low self-esteem, and more. They have tried to lose weight in the past, but in the way they found themselves feeling mentally unwell, they threw the towel, didn't lose the weight, but they still wanted to do it in pro of their mental health. So in therapy, we've established some strategies that have allowed them to lose the weight successfully without feeling overwhelmed, restricted, but also have prevented them from falling into some type of disordered eating behavior, from having fear towards food after they've gotten to their goal weight, from getting obsessed with exercise. We've found a middle ground, and I'm gonna tell you some of the tips they have followed on this video. Now, just as a disclaimer, this advice is general. Some of the things you will learn today may or may not work for you, so before using them, it'd be better for you to consult with your doctor if they are okay for you and your own particular situation. And second, which goes in hand with the first disclaimer, often my patients have required of a multidisciplinary team, so not only me, but a nutritionist, dietitian, general doctor, urologist or gynecologist, sometimes a fitness coach as well. We've all have had to remain in contact to really help our client to reach their goals, so the following tips will also be based on that. With that out of the way, now, how can you actually lose weight successfully without sacrificing your mental health? Number one, accept the place you are at right here, right now. Based on my professional experience, this is probably the most difficult step for people to give. So once you go through this, you'll be able to do the rest. Trust me. Often patients are on denial when they receive the news that they are overweight, obese, which is a normal human reaction. It involves a grieving process because they are basically telling you you are not in an optimal state, change your life, otherwise your quality of life will decrease, making the patient feel shocked, pressured, unmotivated because they have been doing plenty of normal average activities. So how can they be unhealthy? They may try to say that's fake, or weight does not dictate how your health is. Self-talk that encourages the patients to remain stuck. But that's when we work on acceptance, maybe by stepping into the scale again and confirm you are at a certain weight, by taking your measurements, by rechecking your medical exams results that tell you your body fat percentage, your muscle mass index, and you can acknowledge your current status. It is easier said than done, of course, course, but even saying mentally or out loud,
Okay, I'm X amount of pounds.
for example, until you come in terms with it, until you can be self-aware that that is your current situation, works. And that self-awareness and acceptance then allows you to ask yourself, is this how I want to look right now? Do I really feel comfortable? Do I really feel my best? And that's when introspection will be your best tool. After taking a walk, for example, sit down, feel your body, your legs hurt, is your breath really optimal? How did you feel during the walk? Did you like how you felt before the walk, during the walk, and after it? Is that how you always want to feel? Yes or no? Usually the average answer is no, aka the person has accepted they are not in their best condition, they acknowledge the difficulties their weight has brought, and they have found motivation and reasons to make a change. They have the will to change, and it's that predisposition that finally allows us to set realistic goals, which leads me to my second tip. Number 2, let's apply the smarter method to build a sustainable plan. Cliche, yeah, maybe, but this thing actually works. Now, you've probably heard of this strategy, but let's refresh it. Let's start with the smart part of it, which means your goals will be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-based. This will allow you to set objectives that you can actually reach because they adapt to your own context, to your own resources, to your occupations without making it too overwhelming. In practice, let's say I want to lose weight. I'm a mom of 2 who has an 8-hour work 5 times a week. I weigh 200 pounds and I wanna drop some of my weight. I might be really busy because not only I have to take care of myself, but I have a home and a job, which could present unforeseen circumstances every once in a while, but I still want to drop some pounds. So I should set objectives that are not that big so I don't get intimidated, anxious, and therefore throw the towel, but rather small, little ones that also adapt to my busy life. So let's use the SMART method. Specific. I will lose 1 pound per week. I'll work out 15 to 20 minutes 3 times per week. Both goals are connected because physical activity could lead me to lose weight. Measurable, of course, I can. There's a scale. I have my measuring tape. I can register my measurements, or I also can register my workouts on my notes and or with my smartwatch if I have it. Attainable, I could work out twice during the weekend while my kids are still sleeping, and I could just throw 15 minutes of movement sometime during the week. Maybe a little Zumba class that I can even do with my kids, so we're able to share time together while they are learning healthy habits. Realistic, I don't have too much time in the day, so that's why I chose 3 workouts per week and 20 minutes to start with, and 1 pound seems reasonable according to that. Time-based, 1 pound in the lapse of a week. Then we can add the after trying the plan for around 2-3 weeks maybe, just to check its effectiveness. Evaluate. Could I do it? Could I do more than originally planned and it is still sustainable for me? For example, I worked out 4 times instead of 3. How did I feel? Did I like the routine? If not, what else can I try? Maybe I didn't like running, but I enjoyed dancing. I didn't like Pilates, but I liked yoga, so I could do more yoga. And lastly, rewarding. I lost 2 pounds in 2 weeks. I reached my goals. I feel more motivated to stick to the plan. Yes, motivation is a reward. But maybe we could also add rewards that contribute to the goal, as maybe I will buy some resistance bands that are cheap and allow me to diversify my exercise routine. This smarter plan allows you to set goals that are reasonable, that are made for you and only you, that help you to feel motivated with a purpose, and also it prevents or reduces discouragement when the goal is not necessarily achieved, because instead of putting yourself down immediately, it allows you to evaluate why it didn't work and why, if something needs to change, so you can feel better, less stressed, and less overwhelmed. And simultaneously, you can adhere to the gradual process of losing weight without putting pressure on yourself either, because you're not setting enormous goals that will push you to the limit and make you feel miserable. Number 3, don't cut. Reduce and add. The common thing someone does when they want to lose weight is starting some diet that forces them to cut something completely, such as keto that cuts carbs, paleo that cuts processed foods, carnivore that cuts everything but meats and butter, raw vegan that makes you eat only raw fruits and veggies, or they usually switch their entire diet overnight, as if they usually eat fast sugary foods and they switch it to only chicken and broccoli the next day. But that's mentally not sustainable at all. First of all, your brain has adapted to certain types of foods. Your brain sends signals to your taste buds to be pleased with those certain foods, to your hormones, so they work with those things that they have been having for so long. It has certain programming built by your eating habits. For you to be able to modify them to healthier ones, you may want to train your system to enjoy more whole foods than fast, highly processed ones, but you need to do it gradually, because your brain that is not used to eat them is more likely to reject healthier options at first, as they are new, rare, unrecognizable, making you feel confused. If you change all of your diet overnight, your brain enters in panic mode basically, because again, it's not habitual. That's why you may feel disgusted, and also that is why you feel deprived, because your brain is not receiving that usual dopamine hit, the good stuff, and therefore you could start feeling angry and moody. On the other hand, if you expose yourself gradually, if you introduce healthier stuff little by little, mixing it up with the things you usually eat, it's easier for you to adapt without feeling overly restricted, tired, stressed, and at the same time, you're able to make your weight loss easier while you build sustainable habits that can remain long term to also keep that weight off and maintain a healthier one. For example, let's say I have 10 cookies per day. Of course, I'm used to that sugar rush. Of course, my entire system is wired to work with those 10 cookies. And if I cut them suddenly, I'm gonna feel that sugar crash. So what do I do instead? Instead of 10 cookies, I can have 9 cookies and an apple. I know I won't necessarily enjoy the apple 100%, so I may eat it first and then I'll have the rest of my cookies. 2 days after, I can have 8 cookies, 1 apple, and a carrot. Next week, I may have 6 cookies, 1 apple, 1 carrot, 1 tomato, and a cup of strawberries, and so on, until I'm able to have 1 cookie per day, or maybe I won't even crave that cookie anymore. And that happens because my system, my brain, starts adapting to whole foods, and it's starting to work with them little by little. And I was able to create a gradual calorie deficit that has allowed me to lose weight without feeling deprived, benefiting my health, but also without having to tag foods as good or bad, preventing myself from developing disordered eating patterns that could lead me to a binge restricting cycle, anorexia, orthorexia, or other eating disorders. That's what a psychologist calls exposition, and it really works when it's done gradually, as you can see, because it doesn't push our patient to the limit, but rather encourages them to take little but important steps so they can sustain their habits long term and reach their realistic goals with realistic actions. Also, I gotta add that cutting any macronutrient, carbs, proteins, fats, aside from not being realistic nor sustainable, can biologically affect your mind and its sanity. Because carbs are sugars that help our brain to activate, to wake up, so you can pay attention, so you can be present, so you can concentrate, you can retain information and complete your daily activities successfully. They also help to dopamine and serotonin production, so your mood can remain overall stable throughout the day without having heavy mood swings that could spike your cortisol and simultaneously could make you have brain fog, fatigue, feel lethargic, etc. Remember that carbs include fruits and veggies that have plenty of vitamins that also help you to regulate your neurotransmitters and hormones, which influence on how you regulate your feelings and emotions. And let's be honest, carbs are hella tasty, they give us pleasure, and we need them to handle daily pressure. Proteins have amino acids, the basis of our neurotransmitters, so we need them for mood regulation, and so we can reduce stress levels, we can focus, and we can memorize and remember stuff, and also be able to manage our feelings and solve problems with more ease. Proteins also help our system to digest carbs more slowly, preventing sugar spikes and therefore mood swings, fatigue, you know the drill. And fats are very important as well. Our brain is 60% composed by fats. That's the brain structure basically. Fats support our brain's membranes and its neurotransmitters, so we need fats if we want our membranes, its connections to manage dopamine, cortisol, serotonin, melatonin for sleep, oxytocin, estrogens, testosterone, etc. in a functional way. They also help with an optimal absorption of carbs and proteins that also contribute to hormonal balance and an optimal neurotransmission, so we can really enjoy the already mentioned mental health related benefits. Now, preferably we want to mostly consume healthier fats as olives, nuts, salmon, avocado, seeds. As saturated / trans fats can swell our brain, having the opposite effects, so keep that in mind. Of course, I'm not saying don't ever eat pizza, burgers, chips, cookies, or whatever. They are good for the soul. I am saying be smart with your choices, and instead of banning them completely, remember, reduce and add. And finally, movement does not have to make you feel miserable. Patients have come to the office being done during their wellness journey because of one common factor. They want to move their bodies intentionally, aka work out. Some have started doing so, others are about to, but they all have had this idea that going to the gym is the only way. Many of them don't actually like going to the gym. They find it boring, therefore they lose motivation to move, and they are most likely to throw the towel, stop moving completely, and often this leads them to also drop their diet, because what's the point of dieting if there is not that movement complement? Now, first thing we do in therapy is remember some theory, which is that diet actually is 80% of our habits to remain healthy, and exercise represents about 15-20%. This helps people to regain motivation because they have actually been working on the hardest part already, so they are basically capable of anything. This is an emotional booster. Second, in therapy, we like to restructure our our patient's perspective towards exercise. Let me explain. If they think the gym is the only way, they could get stuck in a closed, limited mindset that could cause them to put more pressure on themselves to do something they don't like to do. It feels like another task, an obligation, making physical activity another stressor instead of a source of dopamine and serotonin, and we could end up with a patient that is more moody, more stressed, and even storing more visceral fat, because that's what excess cortisol can do, which is detrimental for their overall health. We like to understand why the patient thinks the gym is the only way. Who told them that? How reasonable is that statement? We could even ask them things like, is walking movement? Can you walk? Do you need a gym to walk? And even if these sound obvious, these sort of evident questions help patients to see that there are more ways to move that can result more enjoyable, that will actually help them to stick to their smart plans and reach their goals. Something I also like to do with my clients is asking them which type of movement they like. Dancing, boxing, yoga, bar, running, walking, whatever. How much time do they have available on their day to work out? Let's say one told me, I like Zumba and I usually have 40 minutes that I could use to do it. Then I take my cell phone out, I open YouTube and search 40 minutes Zumba class, and I show them that they have the tools to move in a way that they actually like. The reactions have been like,
Wow, I haven't thought about it, but I'm trying it.
they have tried it, they have loved it, they have stuck to it, have reached their goals, and also have created sustainable habits that are meant to remain long term, while actually getting that dopamine and serotonin hit from exercise, improving their mood, their sleep, their stress, anxiety, depression levels. They have been able to feel motivated, they have improved mentally and also physically because they have found something that is for them, something that they enjoy and therefore they can adhere to. These are just 4 tips, 4 long tips, but I hope they can also help you. They have been useful for my patients, so I hope they will be for you as well. Is there something you learned from this video or something that you would like to add to the conversation? Leave it in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like and share with someone that may find this useful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out on more interesting psychology content. Thanks for watching.